I'm Sue Bob, and I live up here in the hills. I don't know my actual address, but I know I live in hill country here in West Virginia. I live here in my beautiful trailer with my 6 to 8 kids, God knows how many there are, along with my brother's cousin and my grandmother's uncle's niece. And this is where we felt the earthquake in June of 2011.
Hey, I'm Chad. I'm from California, and I'm getting interviewed for this movie. It's a movie, right? Yeah. Because I was a part of this earthquake that happened in June 2011, and got some crazy stuff going on. So yeah.
I'm Clint. I live here on my ranch of 150 acres in Greenville, Texas. In June of 2011, there was the biggest earthquake I've ever seen.
My name is Emma Miller. I'm a seismologist at a Canadian GPS station, and I'm going to explain about earthquake monitoring.
Hey, Sue Bob. Thanks for having me here at your home, I guess. I just have a couple questions for you. To start off with, what kind of movement was happening during this earthquake?
Crazy movements. All of a sudden, my trailer was rocking back and forth and back and forth and scared the living daylights out of my babies. And the next thing I knew, it was bouncing up and down and not in a good way. You know what I'm saying?
This can be easily explained. P waves, or primary waves, would cause someone to feel a back and forth motion, while S waves would cause somebody to feel like they were moving up and down. These two waves are the first waves monitored after an earthquake.
We're here in California asking Chad a couple questions about the earthquake he felt here in California in 2011.
Welcome, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to be here, California.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now I have a couple questions. Number one, what kind of movement was the earth doing when, this earthquake happened?
Man, it was crazy. Like, it was moving up and down, and it was like, it was rolling like a swell, and like the tide, it was rolling, and it was up and down. It wasn't really big enough to ride or anything, but I mean, maybe with a skateboard or a freeboard. You could probably get on that next time. But yeah, it was definitely moving up and down. It was rolling.
Oh, okay, good.
What Chad most likely felt was called Rayleigh waves. Rayleigh waves roll, and they're the most destructive, depending on the size of the earthquake.
All right, now Clint, what kind of movement was happening during the earthquake?
The ground was moving everywhere, just like this big snake everywhere. Like the big snake I found in my boot last week. I don't even know what that even means when the ground's moving like a snake.
The ground will move in a snake-like back and forth motion whenever the surface waves called love waves are happening. Surface waves are Rayleigh and love waves. These are the slowest waves that occur from an earthquake. According to Bruce A. Bolt in his book, Earthquakes, the measurement of the speeds and waveforms of surface waves can be used as a tomographic signal. These signals can be decoded to yield a picture of the tectonically complex regions of the upper part of the Earth.
Well, okay, next question. Did it feel like a huge earthquake, or just did it feel like a kind of small earthquake?
Well, I don't know much about earthquakes, but I never felt anything like that before. It was pretty huge. It shook like crazy.
The magnitude scale measures the amplitude of seismic waves caused by an earthquake. The strong earthquake in West Virginia that Sue Bob felt measures at approximately 8.5 on the magnitude scale.
Did it feel like a big earthquake?
Well, hell yeah, it felt like a big earthquake. I thought my damn ranch was going to disappear. My dog was going nuts. I didn't know what was going to go on.
This particular earthquake experienced in Texas falls at approximately 6.1 on the magnitude scale.
Chad, did it feel like a big earthquake?
Oh yeah, it was massive. Like, it was huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the seismograph shows that it was only 4 on the magnitude scale?
No. I mean like 4 or 5, right? It was huge.
Close. Very close.
The earthquake in California measured at a light 4.3 on the magnitude scale. We get magnitude scale readings from seismographs. Seismographs are instruments used to record the motion of the ground during an earthquake. They are installed in various places throughout the world to monitor the waves made from different earthquakes. The first one was developed in 1890.
Now, Sue Bob, my next question is what damages were sustained to the area around you and your place, actually?
Well, if you mean what damages were did, then all my dishes fell off my wall. Well, heck, even my loft fell off my wall. And dang, the only window I had that wasn't broken or cracked is now completely broken. And all my kids, they just done fell over. I mean, just fell over.
The Mercalli Intensity Scale measures human perception of the amount of damages that occur from an earthquake. The earthquake in West Virginia is considered an 8 on the Mercalli scale. Poorly built buildings will suffer considerable damage and furniture will readily move during this type of earthquake. This explains why her dishes were falling off the wall.
Clint, what damage was sustained?
Besides a big crack in my plaster wall, my couch is being moved around, my chicken's getting out of the chicken coop, it wasn't really that bad, except all 125 people in this big town I lived in were really scared.
Because Clint's plaster walls cracked and his furniture only moved slightly, this registers as a 6 on the Mercalli scale.
Chad, my next question is what kind of damages did this earthquake cause to the area around you?
Well, it woke me up off the couch, and like my pipes were rolling off. I mean, the pipes by the sink, whatever those pipes, they were rattling. The dishes in my sink were all rattling. It was just crazy, and the windows, they're shaking. It was like a movie. It was crazy.
The earthquake in California was actually a 4 out of 12 on the Mercalli scale. Chad was one of the only people to awaken during this event. That's why he noticed his dishes rattling.
All right, last question. We're almost done. My last question is where were you when you first felt the earthquake? I mean, when you first felt it.
Well, my sister's cousin and my cousin's sister, we were all sitting around back watching our 2 sons wrestle a duck. I don't know what they were doing. It's some kind of game, I guess. And then all of a sudden, right in the middle of it, everything started falling apart.
One advanced tool for monitoring the land area around where an earthquake occurs is INSAR, or satellite-based imaging.
Where were you when you first felt the earthquake?
I was just tending to my cows out on my ranch and out in the pasture, and all of a sudden the ground started moving like a big snake and the cows started running everywhere.
INSAR stands for Interferometric Synthetic Aperture Radar. According to Matthew E. Pritchard, in a 2006 issue of Physics Today, INSAR is a valuable technology because it has the ability to see through clouds and precipitation and can function day or night, no matter what the weather. INSAR, along with GPS technology, is key in monitoring earthquake deformations.
All right, last question. Where were you when you first felt the earthquake?
We're sitting on it. I was right here in this room, the couch.
Oh yes, asleep. I remember you said that. California, all right.
This is an actual image of an INSAR satellite reading in California around where Chad felt the earthquake in June of 2011. As I said, along with INSAR, GPS is also one of the main keys in monitoring earthquakes. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. Satellite images provide data to GPS stations located all over the world. There's thousands in Asia, Australia, Guatemala, and California. According to the website usgs.gov, accessed on March 22, 2011, Earth's surface is being deformed as earthquake faults accumulate, strain, and slip or slowly creep over time. We use GPS to monitor this movement.
Nate Johnson here, and I'm here at USCUS, and I'm meeting with Mr. Harrison here in a little bit. I'm going to ask him a few questions about seismology and everything that goes on here, and so let's go take a look around.
Hey Nick, how you doing?
Mr. Harrison, how are you?
Good, thanks for coming. Have a seat.
Thank you very much.
Well, how's your day going, Nick?
Excuse me, I'll ask the questions.
I'm sorry.
Pick your brain a little bit.
Sorry.
So how long have you been working here at USCUS?
USCUS? What's USCUS?
It says here USGS.
Oh, you mean the United States Geological Survey?
Yes. How long have you been working here?
I've been here about 7 or 8 years.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Harrison, could you just give us a brief description of what it is that you do here at USGS?
I mean, here at USGS, we study the behavior, the frequency, and the effects of seismic waves and activity that occur around the world. The violent movements that happen in the Earth's crust come from different sources. Mostly earthquakes, which are at the focal point of our studies.
Oh, okay. So would you say that earthquakes are your favorite natural disaster?
Well, of course.
So, what are some of the machines and instruments that y'all use here to monitor earthquakes and seismic activity? And what do they do?
Of course, since I'm a seismologist, we use a seismograph quite often, which measures the movement under Earth's surface, and the seismometer records it. It moves around like a pendulum and then marks it down on paper. Also, there's a tilt meter, which measures the tilt or the rotation of the ground. And then, no, don't touch that. Strain meter measures continuous strain on the Earth's crust. Last but not least, we have a creep meter.
Creep meter? What is that? Does that like measure like the old guys walking around the park? What is creep?
No, exactly. They're used to measure the displacements along fault lines.
Oh, okay. Not what I was thinking. It's a lot of meters, though. So, what fields of study do people go into? Like, what education do they need if they go into a career of seismology? Say, like at a college or grad school?
People go into seismology with a bunch of different undergraduate majors, but almost all are expected to be well trained in mathematics, physics, and computer use. So, excuse me, sir, what are you doing?
I was just making sure you're focused. Like,
No, I'm focused. You just stay on your side of the desk, please, sir.
okay.
Some universities offer degrees in geophysics, which is probably the closest course to the real deal. But most jobs in physical sciences require a PhD.
Okay.
Why do you ask? Are you curious about this? I mean, are you wanting to go into this field?
Oh, no, sir. I play football. I'm a football player.
Doubtful.
Wait. What are you trying to say? So, how can people get involved, contribute, or even find out about a job here at USGS?
On our website, www.usgs.org, not USCUS, there's Jobs tab on the homepage that gives great opportunities. There's info about how to volunteer, get an internship, stuff about student employment, and even job listings.
Okay, yeah, on the website. That's really handy. Yeah. Just one more question. Do y'all have to wear uniforms?
Well, being the CFO of USGS, I can wear whatever I want. I can wear nothing to work if I wanted to.
Oh, nice. But if you did have to wear uniforms, I think that people should wear Uggs.
I wouldn't allow my employees to wear usage.
But just think about it. The UGZ, it's really close to USGS. Uggs, Usgus, it's pretty close.
You're not very bright, are you?